Welcome back to the podcast. This week, we are talking about setting yourself up for success for the holidays, specifically tending to yourself, your inner ecosystem, your inner world, so that you can give more to others and so that you can have the experience that you want to have, whether that be less stress. Maybe you want to feel peaceful or happy or present, whatever that may be. I'm going to give you some suggestions on where to start, plus lay out a framework of how you can actually do this to set yourself up for success. My name is Katie Allen, and this is Self-Love Ignited. Let's get to it. Welcome back to Self-Love Ignited. My name is Katie, and today we are talking about tending to your inner world so that you can have the experiences you want to have over the holiday season. Christmas is just around the corner. This episode is being released on the 13th of December. So, let's talk about that, the inside stuff, so that you can experience what you want. This time of year tends to be stressful for a lot of people, right? Whether you celebrate Christmas, whether you celebrate something else, whether you don't celebrate anything at all, and it's just sort of the end of the calendar year, and your routine's a bit out of whack because most things tend to change a little bit this time of year. This is a really important conversation. And the analogy that I want to use is tending to your soil. Tending to your soil being your inner ecosystem, that which everything else in your life is created from. Now, you can have the best seeds in the world, right? The seeds of good intentions, the seeds of, well, I want to plant this seed of, I want to grow a business. I want to plant this seed of, I want to spend more time with my family. I want to plant this seed of, fill in the blank. But if your soil, the inside bits of you, is depleted, you do not have anything to help these other things grow. If your soil is hard as a rock because you've just put up barriers and you are just resisting and holding on, those seeds cannot be planted and grow. If your soil is too watery, right? If it rains too much, they're just going to get washed away, right? If there's no solid foundation, your soil is your inner world. And I came upon this analogy of your soil because I was doing a meditation recently, and the meditation guide, the practitioner led us through lots of different things, but part of the one of the things that he said was talking about tending to your soil, the soil of your life. And this really landed with me because for the last roughly 6 months or so, I have been working part-time at an organic farm. And that means actually being on the farm, like with my hands in the dirt. That means dealing with the produce, getting it ready to be shipped off to customers, and also actually working farmers markets, right? Lots of different touch points along the way. But part of the amazing company that I work for, part of their foundation, something that they very much believe in, and we talk about it all the time, is that growing really good food, good nutrient dense food in a sustainable way isn't actually about the food necessarily. It's not even always about the seeds. It's about the soil and taking care of that soil and replenishing the soil. And as you are growing things in the soil, your soil should actually be getting richer and more nutrient dense. It should not be getting depleted. So when I heard this analogy of tending to the soil of your life, I was like, oh, I have to use this. This is just really landing for me. And as we come up to the holiday season, I think it's the perfect time to look at this, right? This is an important conversation to have year round because we are always wanting to grow things. We're always wanting to cultivate new things in our life, have new experiences, see things differently, right? We are always setting goals and we have dreams and things. That's a year round thing. But as we come up to the holidays, those things may shift a little bit. And it tends to be a time where we are a little bit more stressed and a little bit more out of our routines and just a little bit more on edge. So it can feel just a little bit more difficult. So let's just talk about, first of all, what are the things that you can actually do to tend to your inner world? And I just want to say, this gets to be easy. All right, this gets to be easy because what I'm talking about here is self-care. what I'm talking about is tending to the needs that you have, self-care. And this gets to be really easy. These are not things that you have to do for months or for years before you see any benefit, right? These are things that from day one are going to start to benefit you, and they're really simple. So this is something like journaling, right? Sitting down every day with a journal and just writing for 5 minutes. Things like moving your body every day, right? There have been so many studies done on the incredible benefits of moving your body. Whether it be, in any way, walking, running, swimming, yoga, I don't care what it is. There's so many like physical, mental, and emotional benefits to moving your body. Something like drinking enough water. It's amazing how many people are chronically dehydrated and how much that can make everything else feel harder, make you feel more stressed, make you less resilient to obstacles that come up, right? Choosing food that feels really good for you, that actually energizes your body, that feeds your cells instead of just turning off the hunger signal. And something like meditation. For me, meditation is the ultimate in tending to your soil. Meditation, flexing that muscle of mindfulness. So, for years, I had a pretty dedicated daily meditation practice. It was a couple of years, and I would say like probably 5 to 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week. Um, I would sit down first thing in the morning, usually on my front porch, sometimes in my office, and meditate. And some days it was only 5 minutes, and some days it was 45 minutes. But it was one of those things that I did consistently, and it had massive positive impacts on my life. At that time I was going through a lot of things in my personal life, and it helped me stay grounded through all of that. It helped me make wise decisions. It helped me show up for people in my life the way that I wanted to show up, even when things felt difficult in other areas. It helped me really just manage the chaos that was life. And over the last year to year and a half, this practice has fallen away for me. A lot of things in my life changed, and as often happens for us, right? When we're out of our daily patterns, our daily routines, when other things change, sometimes these things just sort of fall away and we don't even always notice it. Or we don't notice the effects of it. And I was speaking to a friend where I was talking about this exact thing quite recently, and really just having a reflection on how much I miss that practice and how much I now realize not having that, it's really impacting me. And recently I've started meditating again. And I can tell you from day one, sitting down, doing a guided meditation, sitting down for 10, 15 minutes, first thing in the morning, from day one, I have noticed shifts again. And it's really beautiful because this actually puts me right back in like the beginner's mindset. Right. Yes, it may be familiar to me, but I'm out of the routine of it. I don't have my normal things that I'm doing. So I'm actually speaking to you as like a beginner right from the beginning. It's a beautiful thing to re-experience, I have to say. So this is something that am restarting, and I am exploring where and how meditation fits into my life now. But just because I've been out of it for a while doesn't mean that I have to wait 2 more years to find benefits. Right. From day one, it is helping me. So all of these things, right? What we eat, what we drink, meditating, moving your body, journaling, reflecting, right? Maybe it's like speaking to a mentor or a peer or somebody, but having like those deep, meaningful conversations. All of these things are tending to your inner soil. All of these things are tending to your inner ecosystem, giving you a rich inner world so that you can deal with things on the outside better. And I want to say, when I'm talking about tending to your soil and managing your stress and being more mindful, I'm not talking about just sitting around doing nothing. Because so often we're like, oh, yes, we're stressed and there's chaos and da 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 da. So I just need to sit down for 5 minutes. And then inevitably, what do? We turn on the TV or we watch a movie or we end up doing something else, scrolling social media. So that time of I just need to sit down for 5 minutes ends up being filled by something that is still not going to fill you up. It is being filled by something that is either going to keep you level or actually deplete you, depending on exactly what it is and how things make you feel, right? We're all a little bit different. So let's talk about how to do this, because it's all well and good for me to come on here and say, like, tend to your soil, tend to your inner ecosystem, because that's going to help you get through the holidays, and that's going to help you be more mindful and more present with your family and friends, and it's going to help you feel more peaceful and deal with all the stress, which is true. But how do you actually do it? How? And I have 3 very simple tips for you to do. Well, first off, this isn't really a tip, but first off, you just need to decide what you'd like to do, because I've mentioned lots of different things here, and I would highly recommend that you only choose one. Do not try to do lots of different things at the same time. That is a recipe for failure, because when we try to do everything, then it seems impossible and we can't do it, and then we end up doing nothing and just being like, but I give up. Choose one thing. If you're going to choose one thing, I would highly recommend meditation. If you are really resistant to meditation, you really don't want to try it, or you have tried it and you really don't like it, then maybe try, moving your body, or maybe like some breath work or journaling, right? But choose one thing. And then when you have that one thing that you would like to commit to doing, especially through the holidays and through the rest of the year, hopefully, schedule it in. Now, if you have an actual calendar schedule, put it in there. If you use like a Google Calendar or something, put it in there. But schedule it in. Create space for it. If there is no space to be filled, this thing will not happen. You have to create a void so that this beautiful new practice can come in and help to fill you up, help to nourish you, help tend to your soil, so to speak. Schedule it in. If this is, I'm going to meditate 3 times a week, first thing in the morning, excellent. If it's going to be every day, cool. If it can't be at the same time every day because you have a varied schedule, on one day it's at 8 a.m. and the next day you can't get there until 4 in the afternoon, schedule it in, right? Obviously, in an ideal world, it would be the same time every day, da 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 da. It's not how life works all the time. I totally get that. But schedule it in, decide on how often you want to do it, when you want to do it, and make it happen. Number 2, accountability. Oh, us humans, most of us need some sort of accountability, especially when we are embarking on something new. New things tend to be a little bit more challenging. We tend to have some inner resistance to them. We tend to come up with lots of great excuses as to why we cannot do them or don't do them. Accountability, whether this be a friend, maybe you talk to a friend and you both commit to doing the same thing every day and check in with each other every day. Maybe this is working with a coach or a mentor, somebody who can hold you accountable. It doesn't really matter what it is, but have some sort of accountability. Another human being who's going to go, hey, did you do the thing you said you were going to do? If yes, then you guys get to celebrate. And if no, then we get curious. Why not? What happened instead? How can we set you up for success moving forward, right? Somebody that you can have that conversation with. And the third tip for me to help you actually do this, actually tend to your soil, remember why you're doing this. You're not sitting down to meditate because your goal is to meditate. You're sitting down to meditate because your goal is to be more present with your family. You're sitting down to meditate because you want to feel more inner peace. You're sitting down to meditate because you know that there are so many people in your life who you want to give so much to, and you recognize that you have to give yourself something first so that you have more to give. Remember why, right? The big why, the why under the why under the why. It is really, really, really important. If we are not remembering why we are doing things, why we are making changes, why we are starting something new, why we are tending to the soil, we're not going to stick to it. So it may be that you actually write it down, write it on a Post-it and stick it on your bathroom mirror. Or when you set an alarm in your phone every day, this is also part of scheduling it, by the way. That's another way of scheduling it, is set an alarm in your phone. And in most phones now, you can actually label the alarm, right? Label your alarm as why. I'm meditating because I want to be more present with my family. I'm meditating for inner peace, right? Label it as that. Because just saying I want to tend to my soil, just saying I want to have a different experience this holiday season. I know that a stressful time is coming. I want to do something different. Oh, I'm going to meditate. And then on day 2, it stops. We want to keep that from happening, right? We want to set you up for success. So decide the thing that you would like to do. Again, I highly recommend meditation, but if that is not your thing, try moving your body, try journaling, try doing some breath work, whatever that happens to be for you. Decide what you would like to do. Schedule it in through the holidays. Be realistic. Schedule it in. Find somebody to be accountable to. And remember why you're doing this. All right. And I want to say, if this is something that you would love to do and you feel like you do not have anybody in your life to be accountable to, or this entire idea just seems like far too much, and you would like somebody to speak with, you would like to have a brainstorming session, you would like to really build some healthy habits for yourself, set yourself up for success. I do have space for single sessions between now and Christmas. There's only, I believe, 3 or 4 available at this time. So if that is something that you would be interested in, these are 60-minute sessions where we just jump on, you and I, on Zoom, and actually talk about what you want, why you want it, and how we can get you there now. Book that in. Okay, there's going to be details in the show notes on where to go for that and how to do that and pricing and all that sort of thing. So if that's something that you're interested in, please know that that resource is there. The other resource that I want to mention is Insight Timer. I mentioned it earlier. It is the app that I use when I am meditating. It is a free app. There's incredible meditations on there from so many different teachers. And in the show notes, I'm also just going to pop a link to some of the meditations that I have uploaded on there. They are, of course, all around self-worth, body image, self-love, all that sort of thing. Please feel free to check them out. But there's also, like I said, lots of incredible teachers on there. So have a look through. But it is a wonderful resource to start with when you are beginning a meditation journey. So that is it for this week. I hope that this is helpful for you, has given you some direction, some guidance on how to set yourself up for a really beautiful holiday season so that you can be less stressed, more present, find more peace, find more joy. I hope that this is helpful for you. Have a beautiful day, beautiful week. I will see you next week. We have one more episode before Christmas. Have a beautiful day. Here's to you loving all that you are. See you next time.